after losing Truth or Dare, the show crew asked me to call the most recent contact in the call log to say, I miss you. I looked down and saw 3 words written on the top of the list of recent calls, Big Devil. That is Fu Yanji, the youngest actor in the industry, and also my plastic husband, who I have been secretly married to for 3 years. The moment the call was connected, the man's deep voice came through the receiver. Shen Yin, did you remember that you still have a husband? 1. My name is Shen Yin. I am a little fool in the entertainment industry. I am so silly that even the paparazzi are too lazy to take pictures. Being able to appear in the variety show True Night Talk was all thanks to the resources obtained by the agent, Sister Chen, who drank with her until her stomach bleeds. Before the recording, Sister Chen warned me, Nian Yan, the ratings of the show are super high. Even if you're the background board, you have to keep smiling for me the whole time and try to get more shots. Do you hear me? I nodded like garlic, but felt panicked in my heart. Because I have a fatal problem. When I am nervous, my mouth is faster than my brain. It is commonly known that I cannot speak faster than my brain. Sure enough, halfway through the recording of the program, the host Brother Zhou suddenly cue an impromptu session. Come on, let's play Truth or Dare. Whoever the turntable turns is who you are, no cheating. My heart skipped a beat, and before I had time to pray, the pointer of the turntable stopped steadily in front of me. Brother Zhou smiled like an old fox. Teacher Xinyan, Truth or Dare? Everyone in the audience looked at me, and the camera next to me also moved over, and I could even see my stiff expression in the camera. Song Shiyu, a popular little girl sitting in the C seat, covered her mouth and chuckled. Is this your first time on a variety show for Sister Nian? Don't be nervous. Brother Zhou is very gentle. She said this beautifully, but she couldn't hide the gloating in her eyes. Song Shiyu has issues with me. Last year, when casting for a costume drama, the director originally cast me to play the 3rd female lead. Later, Song Shiyu brought money to join the cast and snatched the 3rd female lead away. He also conveniently assigned me a cannon fodder role with only 3 lines. I smiled and said it didn't matter, turned around and added 2 more chicken drumsticks to the crew's lunchbox to comfort myself. I thought this matter was over, but Song Shiyu always seemed to think that I would hold a grudge against her and wanted to step on me whenever she got the chance. Adventure. I chose the option that seemed safer. Brother Zhou's eyes lit up, and he pulled out a card from the punishment box on the table. The content he read out almost made me die on the spot. Teacher Xinyan, please open the call history on your mobile phone, call the first contact you have recently contacted, and say, I miss you. The punishment must be completed if the other party responds. I subconsciously clutched my phone. Recent contacts? Who have I spoken to the most recently? Oh, it seems that the property management fee was collected last week. There is also a takeaway boy, as well as... My fingers opened the call history uncontrollably, and the number 1 contact suddenly came into view. Note, the Great Demon King. Number of calls, 47. Last call, 7:15 this morning, call duration 3 minutes and 28 seconds. My brain shut down instantly. The Great Demon King, whose real name is Fu Yanji, is the youngest actor in the industry, the dream lover of countless girls, and also, I have been secretly married to my plastic husband for 3 years. Calling them a plastic couple really doesn't do us any injustice at all. 3 years ago, my grandfather was seriously ill. His only wish was to see me get married. I was kneeling in the hospital corridor and bursting into tears. I happened to be bumped into by Fu Yanji, who was visiting a friend. He asked me what was wrong. I choked and told the story. He was silent for 3 seconds and said something that made me doubt my life. I can marry you, but there's a condition. What conditions? Each will live his own life without interfering with each other. You need a husband to take care of the family, and I need a wife to take care of the marriage. It will last for 3 years, and we'll get divorced at the end of the period. I was so frightened by the notification of my grandpa's critical illness that I immediately agreed. I went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get my certificate the next day, faster than I could order takeout. After we got married, we lived under the same roof, but slept in separate rooms, and were more polite than our neighbors when we greeted each other. He is a brilliant actor outside, but when he comes home, he turns into an ordinary man slumped on the sofa, picking his feet, and occasionally snatches my last bag of potato chips. I thought this kind of peaceful life would last until the 3 years expired, until 3 months ago. I drank too much and put him to sleep. I don't want to recall the specific details. In short, when I woke up the next day, I looked at the clothes on the floor and the tooth marks on Fu Yanji's collarbone, and I wanted to jump off the 23rd floor. Fu Yanji was very calm, handed me a glass of honey water, said, "You took the initiative last night," and then went out to film. From then on, our relationship became weird. He started calling me frequently, and the content was nothing more than, "Have you eaten yet? Have you finished work? Wear more clothes to cool down today." The frequency was so high that it seemed like he was possessed by my mother. I didn't dare to think too much. After all, I signed the agreement in black and white, and we would get divorced after 3 years. So on the phone call this morning, he called me and asked me what my Wi-Fi password was at home. After I told him, I hung up quickly, for fear that if I said one more word, my heartbeat would be revealed. And now, I want to call him in front of a national audience and say, "I miss you." Can I just choose to die? Teacher Xinyan, what's wrong? Brother Zhou urged me when he saw that I was not moving. Song Shiyu fanned the flames beside her. Sister Nian Nian is not someone who is inconvenient to contact, right? Oh, everyone understands. Her, I understand, was so meaningful that the barrage exploded instantly. Songshu means, is there really something wrong with Xinyan? What can happen to the 18 flying junkie? It's probably because the address book is full of takeaways and express delivery. It's so funny. Don't talk nonsense in front of me. What if it's the sponsor? Eat melon, eat melon. I love watching this punishment. I gritted my teeth, thinking that it was just a knife, so just hit me. The moment the call was dialed, the whole place fell silent, and everyone stared at the phone in my hand. Every sound is like a knock on my heart. On the fourth ring, the phone was connected. A low magnetic male voice came through the receiver, with a bit of lazy hoarseness, as if he had just woken up. Huh? My palms were all sweaty, my lips were trembling for a long time, and I said bravely, I miss you. There was silence on the other end of the phone for 2 seconds. I felt like my heart was going to beat out. Then, the voice sounded again, much more awake than before, with a meaningful smile. Shun Yin Yin, did you remember that you have a husband now? Boom. My brain exploded. Everyone in the video studio was stunned. The teleprompter card in Brother Zhou's hand fell to the ground. Song Shiyu's smile froze on her face, as if someone had pressed the pause button. The barrage went crazy. Fuck, husband? Is Shun Mian married? Wait, why does this voice sound so familiar? I seem to have heard this voice somewhere. No, isn't this that person? Don't play riddles upstairs. Who is it? The person on the other end of the phone seemed to realize something, and his voice suddenly became serious. Are you recording a show? My voice was as low as a mosquito's cry. There was another moment of silence. Then Fu Yanji laughed softly, and the laughter came from the receiver, with a bit of helpless endearment, which made my legs weak. Okay, then I'll cooperate with you. After he finished speaking, his tone suddenly became aggrieved. Honey, you didn't even kiss me when you went out in the morning. I thought you didn't want me anymore. Brother, what script did you get? Where's the cold-blooded actor you promised? What about the plastic couple we agreed on? What's going on with your aggrieved little daughter-in-law's tone? Before I had time to respond, he added, Also, what do you mean you changed the Wi-Fi password? I can't even read the script. The eyes of the audience changed from shock to excitement. I wanted to bury my head in the ground. After all, Brother Zhou is an old host. He was the first to react. His eyes were as bright as searchlights. Teacher Xinyan, is this? I opened my mouth, thinking about how to fool him, when Fu Yanji on the other end of the phone spoke first. Hello, I'm Fu Yanji. He said it very casually, as if he was introducing himself. I deliver express. The studio was silent for 5 seconds. Then, exploded. The staff let out exclamations one after another. Several female directors covered their mouths and screamed, and even the cameraman's hands were shaking. Song Shiyu's face completely collapsed, and the jealousy in her eyes almost overflowed. The barrage no longer refreshes the screen, but freezes directly. Fu Yanji? Is it that Fu Yanji? Best actor Fu Yanji? I must not have woken up. I will sleep for a while. Sisters, please pinch me. I seem to be hallucinating. Or with an 18-year-old? I don't believe it. This must be the effect of the program. Brother Zhou's voice was trembling. Fu, hello. Teacher Fu, we don't know about you, and Teacher Xinyan. Well, she keeps a low profile and doesn't want to make it public. Fu Yanji took over. His tone suddenly became very gentle, but since you have discovered it, I have nothing to hide. He paused, and his voice came through the radio waves, carrying a certain and unquestionable power. My wife, Xinyan, legal, certified. 1. The studio was completely out of control. The director was so excited behind the monitor that he slapped his thigh and frantically gestured to Brother Zhou to ask him to continue asking. Brother Zhou wiped the sweat from his forehead and asked cautiously, Teacher Fu, may I ask how long have you and Teacher Xinyan been married? 3 years. Fu Yanji answered simply and neatly. 3 years. Song Shiyu blurted out, her voice so sharp that it broke. She realized that she had lost her composure and quickly covered her mouth, but she could no longer hide the disbelief in her eyes. The barrage exploded again. 3 years? Doesn't that mean that Fu Yanji got married before he won the Best Actor award? Good guy, we have been secretly married for 3 years. This is the strongest secrecy bureau in the entertainment industry. I just said that Fu Yanji never spread scandals. It turns out he has a wife at home. I mentioned earlier that people who are stupid and close to their money masters come out and get beaten. I stood there, completely confused. Did you agree not to interfere with each other? What if we agreed to divorce at the end of 3 years? You can call your wife so smoothly that I almost thought we were really a loving couple. Brother Zhou asked again. Teacher Fu, can you please tell me now what Teacher Xinyan is like at home? Don't. I tried my best to wink at the phone, but Fu Yanji obviously couldn't receive my brainwaves. There was a smile in his voice. She looks very quiet on the surface, but in fact she is like an ancestor at home. She snatches my potato chips, takes over the remote control, and even uses my treasured Blu-ray discs to make instant noodles. The whole audience burst into laughter. My face was so burned I could fry an egg. One time she was hungry in the middle of the night and wanted to eat crayfish, so I drove around half the city to buy them for her. She ate too and said she was full, so she fell asleep. I ate the rest. The next day, her face was so swollen that she couldn't shoot, and the director scolded her all morning. The laughter became even louder. Even the staff laughed. I gritted my teeth and said to the phone, "Can you stop talking?" "Why didn't you say it?" Fu Yanji's voice suddenly dropped, with a seriousness that only I could understand. Which sentence I said was not the truth? My heart skipped a beat. This bitch usually doesn't even fart at home. How can he say so today? Brother Zhou struck while the iron was hot. "Teacher Fu, since the accident has been made public today, is there anything you want to say to Teacher Xinyan?" There was silence on the other end of the phone for a while. Then Fu Yanji said, "Shenyanyan. Change Wi-Fi password back. Also," his voice became very soft, as if he was afraid of disturbing something, "go home early today." There were boos in the studio. I felt like my face was red to the roots of my ears, and my heart was beating so fast that I was about to burst out of my chest. After hanging up the phone, Brother Zhou looked at me meaningfully. "Teacher Xinyan, you have hidden it deeply enough." I laughed dryly, wondering what I was hiding. I had just learned that this bitch was so good at acting. The expression on Song Shiyu's face was wonderful. She tried to squeeze out a smile, but couldn't. In the end, it turned into a twisted fake smile. "Sister Nyan, congratulations. You didn't tell us such a big happy event earlier." Loki. I imitated her usual smile and smiled, feeling very happy. I was absent-minded throughout the rest of the recording, and all I could think about was Fu Yanji's phrase, "go home early." Are the words he said on the phone consistent with the effect of the show, or are they true? I dare not think about it. I'm afraid that if I think too much, I'll take it seriously, and if I take it seriously, I won't be able to take it back. After the recording, I was grabbed by Sister Chen as soon as I walked out of the studio. "Chen Yan." She was so excited that her voice cracked. "You actually married Fu Yanji? 3 years? You even hid it from me?" "Sister Chen, please listen to my explanation." "Explain what kind of explanation? Do you know how many calls I received just now?" 8. They're all brand owners. They want you to endorse. There is also a variety show director who wants to invite you and Fu Yanji to appear in a couple's variety show together. The price is this amount. She gestured, and my eyes widened. "Besides," Sister Chen took a deep breath, "you are on the hot search." I took out my phone and looked at it. Hot search number 1. Hashtag Frianza hidden marriage before 3 hours, hashtag. The second most popular search, Jinghao Sunying Hu hashtag. The third most popular search, hashtag Fu Yanji's wife, Xinyan hashtag. The fourth hot search, hashtag what's the Wi-Fi password hashtag. What the hell is article for? When I clicked in, I saw that some netizens were already voting to guess our home Wi-Fi password, with more than 500,000 participants. I'm convinced. I really can't keep up with the brain circuits of contemporary netizens. While I was scrolling through hot searches, my phone suddenly vibrated and a WeChat message jumped in. "Great, Demon King. Done." I looked up and saw a black nanny car parked on the side of the road. The window was rolled down halfway, revealing a pair of familiar eyes. Fu Yanji. He was wearing a mask and a hat, revealing only a pair of eyes, but the light in those eyes was all too familiar to me. I looked around to make sure no one was paying attention, then quickly walked over and opened the car door. "Why are you here?" I lowered my voice. "Take you home." He took off his mask, revealing a handsome face that made people and gods angry. 3 years later, I still haven't developed an immunity to his face. "Aren't you on the set?" "I'm asking for leave." He started the car and said in a calm tone, as if he was saying that the weather was nice today. "My wife has almost forgotten about me. If I don't come here to make my presence felt, I'm afraid I'll get divorced." I glared at him. "What nonsense are you talking about on the show? Why are you grabbing potato chips or crayfish? When did I take your Blu-ray disc and instant noodles?" "Last Wednesday." "It was an accident." "Well, there were 3 accidents." I shut up. The car drove onto the elevated highway, and the city lights outside the window were brilliant. The atmosphere in the car suddenly became quiet, so quiet that it was a bit ambiguous. "Shen Yan." He suddenly spoke. Those things I said today are not all in line with the program." My breath hitched. He was holding the steering wheel, his profile looking particularly beautiful under the flickering streetlights, but his voice was a bit lower than usual. "That phone call was my latest contact, but do you know who my latest contact is?" "Who?" "You." He turned his head and looked at me with a seriousness in his eyes that I had never seen before. "The first phone call I make to you every morning, and the last phone call I make to you at night. I have been filming for so many years and received so many scripts, but there is only one role that I don't want to complete." "What role?" "Your husband." I was stunned. The wind from the window came in, messing up my hair and messing up the defense I had finally built up. "But we agreed." My voice was trembling a little. "We will divorce after 3 years." That's the most regretful thing I've ever said in my life. He smiled self-deprecatingly. "Shin Yen Yen, I regretted it." The car stopped at a red light. He turned sideways and looked at me, his eyes reflecting the neon lights of the city, astonishingly bright. "I don't want a divorce." "And you?" "One." I didn't answer him. It's not that I don't want to answer, it's that my brain has completely shut down. Fu Yanji didn't ask any further questions, just smiled softly and drove home. Yes, home. The home where I lived with him for 3 years. In the past, I always felt that this was just a temporary place to stay, and I would have to move out sooner or later, so I didn't even drive a single nail into the wall. But when I opened the door today, I suddenly discovered that there are traces of us everywhere in this home. There are 2 pairs of slippers placed side by side at the entrance, one pink and one gray. His script was mixed with my snacks on the coffee table in the living room. There is a sticky note he wrote casually on the refrigerator door. Don't drink milk after it has expired. Next to it is a smiling face I drew with a highlighter. These details have always been there, but I've never really looked at them. Fu Yanji changed his shoes and went straight to the kitchen. Are you hungry? I'll cook you a bowl of noodles. Can you cook noodles? I was shocked. He has never cooked in the past 3 years. Every time he is hungry, he orders takeout, euphemistically calling it supporting the real economy. I learned it recently. He put on his apron and his movements were surprisingly skillful. Last time you had a stomachache and went to the hospital, the doctor told you to eat less takeout. I was stunned. That was 2 months ago, and he still remembers it? And how did he know that I had gone to the hospital with a stomachache? He was obviously filming somewhere else that day. How do you know? Fu Yanji paused while chopping green onions and did not look back. You posted on Moments. I looked through my circle of friends, and there was indeed one article. I have a stomachache in the middle of the night, and I went to the hospital. Life is my fault. The picture was of an infusion bottle. But I set that circle of friends to be visible only to myself. Can you see my private circle of friends? The tips of Fu Yanji's ears were visibly red. Last time he used my mobile phone to log into WeChat and didn't log out, His voice became smaller and smaller, and I secretly checked it a few times. Several times. Every day. I took a deep breath. Fu Yanji, are you peeking at my WeChat moments? How can the affairs of a legal couple be called peeking? He said confidently. This is called caring. I was choked by his logic. When the noodles arrived, I was shocked again. A bowl of Yangchang noodles, topped with a soft-boiled egg, sprinkled with chopped green onions and dried shrimps, is better than anything I've eaten outside. I tasted it and almost cried. Tasty. Fu Yanji sat across from me, holding his chin while watching me eat noodles. The curve of his mouth was as gentle as the moonlight outside the window. It's delicious, and I'll cook it for you every day. I didn't answer, and just lowered my head to eat the noodles, but my eyes felt a little hot. After eating the noodles, I took the initiative to wash the dishes. Fu Yanji leaned on the kitchen door frame and looked at me. Shun Yin Yin. Are you still thinking about that 3-year agreement? The sound of the faucet was loud, but I still heard his words clearly. I turned off the water and turned around. Before I could wash away the foam on my hands, I said, yes. Then listen up. He came over and looked at me condescendingly, his eyes so serious that they were almost burning. I made that agreement, and now I declare it void. If you say it's invalid, then it's invalid? Yes. He suddenly leaned over, put his hands on the table behind me, and held me in his arms. Shenyan, have you ever thought about a question? What's the problem? If I really just want someone to deal with the urge to get married, why you? I opened my mouth but couldn't speak. Yes, according to his conditions, women who want to marry him can be queued from Beijing to Paris. Why did it happen to be me, the 18-year-old who was squatting in the hospital corridor and crying with snot and tears? Because we were in the hospital that day, so we didn't meet by chance. His voice lowered, as if he had finally taken off some kind of disguise. I came specifically to find you. My mind goes blank. I saw you on the set of your first play. You were squatting in the corner eating a box lunch, and you didn't cry even when the director scolded you. You also smiled and comforted the newcomers who were more nervous than you. At that time, I thought, how can this girl be so stupid? Later, I started to pay attention to your news. I looked at every role you played, even if it was a supporting role with only a few lines. I could find you. You always think that you are not popular because of bad luck, but it is not the case. He paused. You're just too clean. You don't want to touch the dirty things in this circle, so you walk slower than others. But Shun Yin Yin, it is precisely because you're clean that I want to protect you and prevent anyone from getting a chance to dirty you. My tears fell without warning. 3 years. For the past 3 years, I have guarded my heart carefully, not daring to go too far. I told myself that this was just an agreement, and I would leave with dignity when it expired. But he told me that it had been planned for a long time from the beginning. Then why didn't you tell me earlier? I'm afraid of scaring you away. He stretched out his hand to wipe the tears from my face. You are so stubborn. If you knew what I was thinking, you would definitely turn around and run away. I cried and laughed. He knows me too well. Then why do you dare to say it now? Because if I don't explain clearly, I'm afraid you will really divorce me. His voice was a little hoarse, with a kind of vulnerability that I had never heard before. Xinyan, these 3 years have been the most difficult dramas I have ever performed. I pretend to be calm every day, but in fact my heart has already been turned upside down. I want to hug you when you go out, kiss you when you come home, and open your door to take a look at you when you fall asleep. But I don't even dare. I'm afraid that if I cross the line, you won't want me anymore. I couldn't help it anymore, stood up on tiptoes and kissed his lips. He was stunned for a moment, then grabbed the back of my head and deepened the kiss. The faucet was not turned off yet, and the sound of running water covered up the sound of his heartbeat. I don't know how long it took before he let go of me, his forehead pressed against mine, and his breathing intertwined. So, what's the Wi-Fi password? I burst out laughing, tears still hanging on my face. Your birthday. His eyes lit up. Really? Really? It's been 3 months since I changed it. It changed from the day he started calling me frequently. Fu Yanji smiled, like a successful fox, picked me up and spun me around. Shen Yan Yan, you're done. Don't even think about running away in this life. I buried my face in the crook of his shoulder, unable to suppress the curvature of the corners of my mouth. It turns out that after going round and round, we have been each other's answer for a long time. 1. The next morning, I was woken up by my cell phone. To be precise, I was awakened by more than 100 WeChat messages and more than 30 missed calls. I vaguely picked up my phone and looked at it. Sister Chin, are you awake? Sister Chin, you are the #1 hot search. Sister Chin, no, you and Fu Yanji were on the top of the hot search list together. Sister Chin, that's not right. You two occupy the top 10 hot searches. I rubbed my eyes and opened Weibo. Hot search #1. Hashtag Fuyanzi Kenny and Sweetsum frame hashtag. The second most popular search. Hashtag Fuyanzi said he doesn't want a divorce hashtag. The third most popular search. Jinghao Sanyan Yue Jinghao. The fourth hot search. Hashtag Fuyanzi confession hashtag. Hot search #5. Hashtag Civil Affairs Bureau response hashtag. Wait, what the hell is the response from the Civil Affairs Bureau? I clicked in and saw that it was the official Weibo of a Civil Affairs Bureau that posted. Marriage is not easy, but it must be practiced and cherished. I wish Mr. Fu Yanji and Miss Jin Yan a happy marriage for 100 years and a forever bond. Love. The number of retweets has exceeded 1 million. The comment section is even more exciting. The Civil Affairs Bureau personally went to the table to make sweets. This was a great meal. Sisters, is this the legendary official certification? Yesterday, I was still scolding Xin Yan for not being worthy of Fu Yanji. Today I announced that I was wrong. What kind of fairy love is this? Hidden marriage for 3 years, planned for a long time. Fu Yanji, you are so good at it. Please go to the couple variety show. I am willing to open a membership to watch. I looked to the side, and Fu Yanji was not there. But there was a glass of warm water on the bedside table and a sticky note pressed next to it. I picked it up and took a look. Honey, I'm going to the set. Breakfast is in the microwave. Remember to heat it up before eating. I'm very satisfied with the Wi-Fi password. Keep it up. You're a big devil. I put the sticky note on my chest and rolled around on the bed. Then I got up, took a photo, and posted it on Moments. Peiwen, 早餐 get. No permissions are set. Within a minute of posting, the number of likes exceeded 100. Fu Yanji commented below. I did it. Sister Chin commented. You two are living together? No, you two have been living together? I need to take antihypertensive medicine. Song Xiu also commented, with 3 rose emoticons. I glanced at it, smiled, and didn't reply. In the microwave was a bacon sandwich and a cup of hot milk, with a crooked smiley face drawn with ketchup on the side. While I was eating, I checked my phone and found that Fu Yanji's Weibo had been updated. Fu Yanji V. Uniform reply. Yes, my wife. It took me 3 years to find her. Don't ask. If you ask again, I love her. Picture. The accompanying picture is a screenshot of the post I just posted on Moments. The number of retweets has gone crazy. The front row of the comment area is full of big verses. Director Zhang Momo. Hello, sister-in-law. I will bring her to visit the class next time. Actor Lin Momo. Brother, you hit it deeply enough. When you were playing with me on the set, you checked your phone every day. So you were checking your wife's news. Singer Zhou Momo. Wow, it's so sweet. I'm going to write a song for you. The most shocking thing is that the moderator of a famous gossip forum personally resigned. From today on, anyone who posts about Fu Yanji's scandal with so-and-so will be deleted. The real owner personally resigned and officially announced that we gossips must also have professional ethics. I laughed so much that I almost spit out the milk. At this time, the phone rang again. It was Fu Yanji. Woke up. Have you seen Weibo? I see. I paused. You are so high profile. Aren't you afraid of losing fans? There was silence on the other end of the phone for a second, and then his low laugh came. Shen Yan Yan, I have been filming for 10 years and won 3 Best Actors. I have never been afraid of anything. Except for fear that you won't want me. My nose is sore again. When do you finish work today? 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Then I'll pick you up. The other end of the phone was quiet again. Shen Yan. Say it again. I said, I'll pick you up. I said word for word. Pick up my husband from get off work. Fu Yanji took a deep breath and his voice became a little hoarse. Don't come. Why? You're here. I'm afraid I accidentally grinned from the corner of my mouth to the base of my ears, and it will be trending again tomorrow. I laughed out loud. Isn't that great? Okay. Do you still want your husband's idle baggage? I hung up the phone, finished the rest of my sandwich, and opened the closet. In the closet, my clothes and his clothes were hung together, and the clear dividing line between them disappeared at some point. My colorful skirt hangs next to his suit, and my silk scarf is stuffed next to his tie. I picked out a fluorescent yellow dress that he hated the most and put on a bright red lip in front of the mirror. Since I am going to pick up my husband on the set, I have to give him a long face. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I drove to Fu Yenji's set. There was already a circle of fans and media gathered at the door, and I was shocked by the fierce battle. Only then did I remember that what happened yesterday was so big that the studio would definitely be besieged today. Just as I was hesitating whether to send him a message saying I was waiting at the back door, someone suddenly knocked on the car window. I turned around and saw that it was Fu Yenji's assistant Xiaohe. Sister-in-law, Brother Fu asked me to pick you up. Xiaohe smiled so hard that he couldn't see his teeth. He started talking about it since the morning, saying that you would come in the afternoon and let us clean up the set. He also specially asked me to buy the milk tea you like to drink. It is hot and has less sugar. I was stunned for a moment. How did he know that I like to drink this? Brother Fu has it in the memo on his cell phone. He wrote 3 full pages, all about you. What you like to eat and what you don't like to eat, what allergies you have, and what your habits are. It's more detailed than the script. My heart is so soft. Following Xiaohe into the studio, he saw Fu Yenji filming from a distance. Wearing a neatly tailored suit, he stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, his profile backlit with sharp and stern lines. The director in front of the monitor shouted "card," and he instantly pulled away from the roll and turned his head to look in the direction of the entrance. Then he saw me. At that moment, a bright and silly smile spread across the face of the stern actor. Some switch was pressed on his whole figure, transforming from a domineering president into a silly son of a landlord. Wife. He shouted so that the entire set could hear him. Everyone turned to look at me. I walked over bravely and handed him the milk tea in my hand. It's for you. He took it and took a look at it, then looked at the fluorescent yellow dress I was wearing, and the corners of his mouth twitched. On purpose. Yes, on purpose. He sighed, put his arm around my shoulders, and said to everyone on the set, my wife, Xinyan. Please take good care of her from now on. There were boos and applause on the set. The director poked his head out from behind the monitor. Xiao Fu, you are in good condition today, 1 pass. It seems that you are motivated. Fu Yenji smiled and said nothing, but his hand around my shoulders tightened a little. On the way home, the sunset dyed the entire city orange. Fu Yenji was driving, and my fluorescent yellow dress was blinding in the sunset. Shen Yanyan. You did it on purpose today, right? Wearing this skirt. Yes, it will make you look taller. He laughed so hard that his shoulders shook. My wife is the most beautiful in the world. She looks good in anything she wears. Come on, last time you said this skirt looked like a glow stick. That's because I have no taste, he said without changing his face. Now I think glow sticks are pretty good looking too. I rolled my eyes at him, but I couldn't suppress the curve of my mouth. As the car passed a bridge, he suddenly pulled over and stopped. What's wrong? Get off. He pulled me out of the car and walked to the bridge. The river under the bridge reflects the sunset and is sparkling, as beautiful as an oil painting. Shen Yan, look. I looked in the direction of his finger. On a building on the other side of the river, something was playing on a large LED screen. I squinted my eyes to take a closer look and almost choked on my own saliva. On the big screen is a photo of me and Fu Yenji. That photo was taken on the day we received the certificate. I was wearing a white shirt and he was wearing a black shirt. The two of them were smiling a little silly at the camera. Below the photo are a few big words. Shen Yan, legal wife, valid for a lifetime. Are you crazy? I turned to glare at him. When did you do this? This morning. He held my hand in his palm. The temperature was scorching. I called the advertising company, and it happened that the LED screen in that building was available today. How much did it cost? I don't remember. Fu Yenji. I really don't remember. He smiled and pulled me into his arms, because no matter how much money it costs, it's worth it. My eyes became wet again. Damn it, what happened to this man today? He kept saying love words one after another. Shen Yanyan. His voice sounded above his head, low and gentle. I used to think that the marriage certificate was just a piece of paper, and the 3-year appointment was just a period. But then I discovered that your name was on that piece of paper, and your 3 years were in that period, and they became the most important things in my life. My grandfather told me before he died that it is a great blessing to meet someone in your life who makes you willing to put down all pretense. I met it. That's you. I stood up on tiptoes and kissed him in the sunset. The river breeze blows by, bringing the smell of water plants. On the big screen in the distance, our group photos are still scrolling. At this moment, I suddenly felt that all the anxiety and caution before were worth it. Because the end of the wait is him. 1. A week later, Fu Yenji and I's husband and wife variety show was officially announced. The show is called The Fairy Wife. Sister Chun helped me pick it up, saying that it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that would not only wash away my previous label of being an 18th-tier bastard, but also allow me to openly show off my love for Fu Yenji. I wanted to say no, but Fu Yenji said, "Go, I want the whole world to know that you are my wife." I was convinced by him. The first episode of the show was recorded at our house. When the director came in with the camera, Fu Yenji was in the kitchen making me an omelet. He was wearing the cartoon apron I bought, with a giant Pikachu printed on it, which was in stark contrast to his status as an actor. The director tactfully reminded, Mr. Fu, does this apron not suit your personality? Fu Yanji didn't even raise his head. This is the persona I have at home. The barrage went crazy on the spot. Ha 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 ha, the actor's apron is Pikachu. Fu Yanji, what is character design? Can it be eaten? I declare this to be the funniest famous scene in a variety show this year. After frying the eggs, he brought the plate in front of me and placed the fork for me. Then I picked up my cup and took a sip of water. It's so natural that it feels like I've done it 10,000 times. The barrage went crazy again. They use a cup. Indirect kiss. Sisters, I'm gone. The director team arranged a quick question and answer session. The director asked me, what does Mr. Fu like to do most at home? Grab my chips. The director asked Fu Yanji, what does Shen Yan like to do most at home? Hide potato chips. The whole audience burst into laughter. The director asked again, what is the other person's habit that you find most intolerable? I thought for a while. He stayed up while reading the script in the middle of the night and left the lights on, which affected my rest. Fu Yanji glanced at me. Are you sure you want to say this? Sure. Okay. He said to the camera, my wife's habit that I can't stand the most is snoring while sleeping. Fu Yanji, still grinding his teeth. You're talking nonsense. He was also talking in his sleep, and the names he shouted back were other men's names. The whole audience gasped. I was anxious. Who did I call? What you shouted was Dash, he said slowly and in a long tone. Fu Yanji, you bastard. The director laughed till he cried. The barrage has completely gotten out of control. Ha 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 ha, I want to die laughing in this show. Fu Yanji, I scold myself. Chun Yen calls her husband a bastard while sleeping. What kind of beautiful love is this? I couldn't wait to find a crack in the ground and crawl into it. But Fu Yanji reached out and rubbed my hair, his eyes as gentle as honey. You're just kidding. She sleeps very well, like a kitten. My heart was struck again. The afternoon session is the tacit understanding test. The director team asked us questions about each other to see if the answers were consistent. The first question, the other person's birthday. I write, November 7th. Fu Yanji wrote, March 21st. Consistent. Question 2, the place where we first met. I wrote, hospital corridor. Written by Fu Yanji, on the set. Inconsistent. I turned to look at him. Isn't it the first time we met in the hospital? The time you proposed to me? Fu Yanji shook his head. The first time I met you was on the set of Travel to Chang'an. You played a little maid, you only had one scene, and you were slapped by the heroine. I was stunned. That was my first film in the industry. That scene took 7 takes. His voice deepened. In each take, you were really beaten. Your face was swollen, but you didn't cry or complain. Instead, you told the actor who hit you, it's okay, this will have a better effect. At that time, I was thinking, why is this girl so stubborn? Then I went to the hospital to find you, not because of a chance encounter. It was because I waited for 3 years and finally had a reason to walk up to you openly. The whole place fell silent. I looked at him and tears suddenly fell down. You never told me this. Because you didn't know me at that time. He stretched out his hand to wipe my tears. But Shen Yinyan, I have always known you. Everyone on the directing team was wiping tears. The barrage was quiet for a few seconds, then completely erupted. Help, what kind of beautiful crush is this? Fu Yanzi had a crush on Shen Yan for 3 years before he dared to strike up a conversation. From the set to the hospital, he was always looking at her. I cried, I really cried. This is not a sweet pet novel. This is a heart torture novel, woo woo woo. Question 3, the other person's favorite flower. I wrote, rose. Fu Yanji wrote, sunflower. Inconsistent. I glared at him. I like roses. You like sunflowers. He said firmly, your Weibo avatar is a sunflower and has not been changed for 7 years. Your mobile phone case has a sunflower pattern. Your favorite painting is Van Gogh's sunflowers. I opened my mouth but couldn't speak. He got it all right. I like sunflowers because their flower language is silent love. Just like my silent feelings for him during these 3 years. How come you know everything? Because I care. He looked at me with a glint in his eyes. If you care about someone, you will remember all her details. I couldn't bear it anymore and hugged him in front of all the cameras. Fu Yanji was stunned for a moment, then tightened his arms. Shen Yanyan, this one is still being recorded. No matter. He rested his chin on top of my head and smiled. Okay, then forget about it. The director was frantically showing off his thoughts behind the monitor. The barrage completely exploded. I can't survive anymore. I have to go to the hospital to get insulin. This sugar content is too high. Please have a baby. I want to see it. Civil Affairs Bureau. I'm coming. I'm coming. After the recording ended that day, Fu Yanji took me to sit on the balcony and watch the stars. There are not many stars in the city, but everyone is very bright. Shen Yanyan. The director told me today that the popularity of this show has broken records. That's good. It's not because of the show. He turned to look at me, the moonlight coating his face with a layer of silver. It's because of you. Yes, because you deserve to be seen. He held my hand in his palm. In the past, you always hid in the corner and felt that you were not good enough. But Shun Yin Yin, in my eyes, you have always shined. No one saw it before because they were blind. Now they see it. I leaned on his shoulder and looked at the lights of thousands of houses in the distance. Fu Yanji. Thank you for seeing me. He didn't answer, just hugged me a little tighter. The night breeze blows gently, bringing the breath of early summer. I closed my eyes and thought, this is what it feels like to be loved. 1. When The Fairy Wife aired on its 3rd episode, Fu Yanji and I went to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Not a divorce. It's a replacement marriage certificate. Because the original copy was lost by Fu Yanji. No, to be precise, he lost it on purpose. That marriage certificate is the product of an agreed marriage. He placed the new marriage certificate in my hand and said solemnly, this one is different. This one is proof that I sincerely want to spend the rest of my life with you. I opened it and looked at it. The photo was still the same old photo, but the feeling